Everybody. Welcome to this special edition of The Right Stuff. We are celebrating the first year anniversary of the Valiant series by author Joanna White. If those of you who follow the show, you know we just finished talking to her maybe about a month and a half ago. We were talking about her debut novel, Hunter. And now she's got several more books out of this Valiant series that I know you're going to enjoy. And right now we are celebrating this whole series. First year anniversary. We want to definitely thank Ambassador International once again for the connection. But I remember when they contacted me, they was like, hey, Joanna's celebrating her first year. Do you want to be on board? I said, of course I want to be on board. And I told Joanna, so here we are chatting with her. Joanna, thank you so much for being with me today as we help you celebrate the anniversary of your Valiant series. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. This is super exciting for me.
It's wonderful to have you. You know, we had such a great rapport when we talked the last time. I'm such a fan. You know, I've been buying your books. I haven't read the whole series yet, but I've been buying them when they come out because I cannot wait till that weekend I get where I'm totally free and I can just delve into this valiant world that you have created. Because I was already in love with my hunter, my mean psychopathic hunter. I was already in love with him. I cannot wait to see what you have in store for some of the other characters in this series. So I want to first of all, say congratulations on your first year anniversary. How does it feel to have it out? I mean, tell us what's that about?
It feels so good. Like there are no words to describe how good it feels because there was a time in my life when I didn't think I was going to be published at all, and it was like full of despair and just the whole bogged down with like the hopelessness and negativity, just where I didn't think I was going to be published. I didn't think I could make it as an author, the whole spiel. And I'm sure every writer goes through it at some point in their life. And so the last year, the first moments when I held my books in my hands, it was a really surreal moment for me, and it was really powerful. But like now that it's been out for a year and seeing how far I've grown and come and all that I've learned and the little fan base that I've started, it means the world to me that it's slowly starting to take off. So
There is nothing like getting your first fan. And I remember my first fan. My first fan, and I'm going to call her out, was Deborah Dunstan. And that's when I first started writing back in 2013. She had
wow.
listened to my show, and my book called Many Strange Women was coming out the following January with my publisher. And so she said, when is your book coming out? And I said, oh, it's coming out in January. Didn't hear from her for several months. Literally the day after the book release, she contacted me and let me know how much she enjoyed it. And ever since then, she has been such an advocate for my work, as well as so many other authors and a bunch of authors that we all work together and network together. We were like, she keeps us from jumping off the ledge. And so when you have that fan that truly understands that your work is something they enjoy, that just empowers you as an author. So what was it like just as yourself, because you do gain fans, people who read your stuff, you do start to gain fans. How did that feel like for you when you realize, oh my gosh, I have fandom? The
um
real
I'm
deal.
It was really weird, like weird in a good way for me because I'm a huge fangirl of a lot of different books, a lot of different movies and shows. So to actually experience that was like a total 180 for me. I kind of got to experience it twice though, because I actually first put the Valiant series on Wattpad, which is a website where you can read books for free. And this was before I considered publishing, and I put the whole series on there, and it got thousands of reads. But throughout the whole series, there was only one person reading through the whole series, and they would comment on every chapter. And her name is Sarah, and she really started it all because back then I was writing the Valiant series as I was posting them. And part of me was like, nobody's reading these books. Nobody likes them. I'm just going to give up. And so the Valiant series wouldn't have been written if it wasn't for Sarah, the very first fan. And then after that happened, whenever I started publishing them, it kind of happened again because by that time, people on Wattpad had finished reading them. It was kind of over for them. But then I moved into the publishing world, and two of the biggest fans that I have right now are Joshua and Jesse, and of course my other than my family. And they follow along with my books, and this series and other series, and so it's just it keeps you going. It really does when you have that person to keep you motivated.
It does. And I think of how many times I'm fans of some of the people I, showcase on my show. I'm one of your fans. You know that. And it kind of goes, okay, Parker's a fan. Hallelujah. We got one here. And it's really cool to have that. And that's why we want to celebrate this first year because oftentimes the statistic I heard several years ago was that 80% of people who want to write a book don't do it. Only 10% do, and the other 10% that didn't write their book must have got abducted by aliens because they're no longer here. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes on with writing a book. And now you can say, hey, I have a series out. And I wanted to use this show as an opportunity to reach out to other authors who keep saying, I want to write a book. I want to write a book. You can't write it if you keep talking about it. You do have to
Mm-hmm.
do it. Now, I know about procrastination. Okay. I do it all the time. Okay. But eventually it's going to get done. Now I want you to share this challenge that you are doing right now. I think a lot of people will be inspired by this challenge you have going on right now as you celebrate your series and how you continue to fight to keep your momentum going.
Yeah. Well, I'm working on the million word challenge, and it's where you write a million words in a year. So I'm writing 4,000 words a day. There for about 2 to 3 weeks, I was solidly writing 5,000 words a day. But then I hit my burnout point because the thing with this challenge is eventually you're going to get burnt out. You're going to write so much that you just want to quit and just not do it. And like you said, procrastination is a big problem. And with this challenge, it teaches you as a writer to push through it. And literally, there have been nights where I just didn't want to write. And I would rather have been doing anything else other than sitting there at the computer. But you literally have to sit down and force yourself to write. And, right now I've hit 860,000 words since January 1st. So I'm on the latter half of the challenge. And when you get to this point, your mindset is just to finish the challenge and be done with it. But I've learned so much, and it's really helped me stop procrastinating because a lot of problems that I personally have with procrastination is that everything else seems so appealing. And yeah, I should write, and I have a lot of books to write. But, I'd rather watch YouTube instead, or I'd rather do this or do that. And so you convince yourself that it's not a priority. And then with this challenge, you have to make it a priority or you're not going to complete the challenge. And for me, it's helped me overcome that because to me, it's forced me to put writing in the priority that it should be. So.
I definitely feel you there because there have been so many times I've actually gotten butt in seat, fingers on keyboard, face on screen, watching Zumbos just desserts. Okay. I was supposed to write and I started watching my cooking and baking shows because
Yeah.
that was more important than writing the book. And then I get so frustrated with myself because I do procrastinate. And my girlfriend was like, Parker, you have got to stop. And I'm like, I will, I promise. And then what do? I do it again. So I understand. So I'm hoping that for those of you who are watching this, as we celebrate Joanna's Valiant Series first year anniversary, I hope you're taking notes. Imagine if you had a goal of a million words in a year. You can start today and be done next year. You be done next year and can do it. So that's something to strive for, something you can use. So let's go through this Valiant series book. I've been showing pictures of your books as you've been talking, but let's go through this Valiant series. Go ahead and give us just a brief synopsis of where the idea came from.
Well, the idea, I started writing whatever I wanted, sort of. And so the series storyline didn't really come into being until later on when I wrote the rest of the series. But basically, darkness is spreading through the galaxy and it's corrupting world after world. And Raiden is the Jesus character. He's kind of an allegory for Jesus, a parallel with Jesus. He's been sent by the Father to find the chosen people that can help save the galaxy and stop corruption from spreading. This doesn't necessarily mean that all the chosen will be taken and found, and it doesn't mean they'll all be heroes, but his job is to search them out and find them. And so basically we start off with the book Hunter and the individual world problems that are going on there and how darkness has really ingrained itself. It's basically taken over this world and it has a hold of this world, kind of like how sin has got a hold over earth in real life, and it's where we live in a sin fallen world. And from there, the first few books of the Valiant series, you jump worlds, but as Raiden gets to finding the chosen, they all start coming together, and eventually build up for the war for the galaxy, basically. And so we start off with Hunter and we move on to book 2, Shifter. But each of these end on sort of cliffhangers, and the storyline itself has to move on. We have to go to a different world, so there's no time to tie up loose ends. And that's where the Valiant short stories come in at, because those tie up the loose ends so that the readers still get a sense for, okay, what happened on this world after we left, you know? And so that's where Forgotten is a prequel. It's a short story introduction to Hunter, and it takes place before Hunter. And it kind of leads into the book a little bit. And then after Hunter, you have Sightless, which ties up loose ends at the end of Hunter. And then after Shifter, the short story ending for it's going to be Reclaimed, and it's coming out in July. So it's another short story. But like I said, the series moves so fast that we had to do these short stories to kind of give readers a sense of what happened back at that world, you know?
One thing that I like about it is that it's in this very interesting world. And when you read Hunter, you find yourself with a lot of questions. And these questions don't necessarily get answered. That's what keeps you reading, which is, skillful writing, by the way. Because I remember when I was reading, like, why are they here? I said, what are they doing here? Just sitting here and just being hunted. I mean, this is horrible. And then your blurb, and I told you, your blurb was killer. It is one of the most killer blurbs out there for Hunter. It makes you just want to read the story. I remember when I started posting it all over Facebook and social media, people were like, "Oh my goodness, what is this book about?" And that was just, and then the whole thing about the bad boys that we women love.
Yes.
We women love our bad boys. It's our fault that men have no idea what we want. It really is our fault.
Yeah.
So is Reclaimed the last book in this series, or is there going to be some more?
There's a lot more. There's 17 main books, and that's not including the short stories in between each one. There's about maybe 9 or 10 short stories plus the 17 main books. And of those 17, 5 are prequel books that take place before Hunter. So there's a character that is featured at the end of Shifter when Raiden shows up, and his backstory is one of the prequels. So you'll get to find out more about him after he shows up in Shifter. There will be another book. His book is called Assassin, and it comes in later. Way before Hunter. He was basically the first chosen, and he's already with Raiden, but we don't know anything about him when he shows up at the end of Shifter. So from this point on, you're going to see chosen kind of peeking in the storylines every once in a while, and I think that's also going to hook readers for people like you, maybe who love Hunter a little bit more, and you're like, well, what happened to these characters? And you'll get to see peaks of them until they all come together at the last 4 books. So
yeah. So it looks like you're creating this segment of a cast of characters. Like, this is your world, this is your universe. So you're creating this cast of characters, and with these cast of characters, they help build up the story. It's kind of like a Star Wars almost. I almost think it's like a Star Wars where you have this massive people that are involved, and you get their stories together, because then the big shebang comes at the end. And I think it's brilliant, and a lot of some of the bigger authors out there are doing that. I don't know if you know the story, The Girl in the Box. That's like 40 books, and she's dealing with all this craziness that she has to deal with. I forgot his name. It starts with Robert somebody. It's called The Girl in the Box series, and he has like 40 books out. So I think it's a good idea, because you create this universe and you get really attached to these characters, and they're just as real as I am. Like, where's the next book coming out? We need to know what happened. So, so as you're planning this series and getting ready to have all these books out there, because you're looking at about like 30 books, 30 published works within this universe, okay? How does that make you feel? Is it daunting? Are you scared? Do you think you can do it? What kind of thoughts are going through your head?
Honestly, I'm impatient. I spent 7 years writing these books, and they're already written. They're literally already ready to go. They need to be edited, and that's literally about it. And so it's a lot of waiting, because publishing, you can't just do it that quickly. It takes time. And so, there's just an impatience in me that is just, it's killing me, to be honest. I'm not a very patient person to begin with. And my heart's desire is just boom, boom, boom. Let's just drop them, like crazy. But that's not the way it works. And especially in in the traditional publishing world. And so I just have to kind of take a step back and take a breather and just be patient, and realize that, okay, they're going to be coming out kind of slow, maybe once a year, one book a year or so, and we'll just have to take it as it comes. But yeah, for me, the biggest struggle is impatience, because I want these books to be out there. Like, I want all 17 to just be on there right now, but that you can't, you have to launch them, you have to go through the publishing process. So
And there's nothing wrong with that. There is something to be said for the wait, because it constantly builds up the anticipation. And plus, readers, sometimes they want to catch up. They want to go, okay, what's going on? Then you throw too many at them, like, wait, hold on, too much, too soon. I remember
yeah,
that old commercial. I'm aging myself when I say the very old commercial. He goes, not yet, not yet. I have no idea what they were advertising, but that's what I
that's
meant from
funny.
the commercial. But anyway, so yeah, I like the fact that you're taking this opportunity to write, and imagine what a million words can do for our viewers out there. You always say, I want to write a book. Imagine what a million words can do for you. Imagine how disciplined you get. Imagine how much more output you'd have. I think you should try it. For our viewer out there wanting to do this, try the million word challenge. Just try it.
Yeah.
You've nothing to lose. You got everything to gain. Even if you just say you do 50 words in a day, that's at least 999,050 words or whatever. I can't count 50 words that you didn't do. Yes, that you still have left. So I always say every word counts, right, Joanna? Every word counts. So as you're celebrating this whole series, people have been so supportive. Who do you want to thank the most for? I mean, of course, we give honor and glory to God, of course. But who do you want to thank the most for helping you along the way?
Probably my family, specifically my husband, because if it wasn't for him, obviously God, we know, is number one. If it wasn't for him, this wouldn't be happening in the first place. But aside from God, my husband worked on the Valiant series with me, and for the most part at the beginning we were just dating, and he knew how passionate I was for stories, and he was kind of a big nerd, and he loved to read, and he's good at editing, and so I would come to him with like all the ideas that I had, and one person can only be so creative, and we'd talk ideas out, and we would plan these books together, and he would help me, and he helped me edit a few of the earlier ones, and if it wasn't for him, they would not have gotten written. And it's technically my series, but it's also technically my husband's too, because a lot of the ideas that you see in the books themselves are from him, because he's a creative and idea person. He just doesn't write very well. It takes him a lot of effort to get a sentence or two out. So but he's super creative, and so anymore he's so ingrained in my stories that you probably won't find a book without his touch in it at some point. I think maybe Shifter maybe was one of the only, I can't remember if it was Shifter. One of the earlier Valiant books was the first one that I wrote without him. But other than that, the rest were like us teaming up together to work on them. So definitely my husband.
That's awesome. Having that familial support is so important. I am aware of some authors who do not have that support. And
Yeah.
so, it makes it a little bit harder, because you want your crew to be behind you in your dreams, but that's always impossible. So that's why I want to thank your hubs for being that impetus to push you forward, to keep you moving, to keep you writing. So we're at
Yeah.
the end of our talk today. We got just, a couple of minutes left. So in a few moments we have left, what are some words you want to say? What I know there's a trailer that I want people to check out. There's a trailer of Shifter that's out there right now. I was trying to share it here, but I couldn't share it. I was so upset. But there's a trailer out there. Tell people about that, and just what are some of your final thoughts you're thinking?
Well, I'm super excited for the trailer because I actually hired an artist to paint scenes from Shifter, and so some of the scenes in there are actually painted scenes directly from the book. No spoilers, of course, but I'm really excited. And if you're a writer, try the million word challenge. It only takes 2,800 words a day to actually complete the challenge in a whole year. And if you want to count your notes, your short stories, just do it. You never know where you might land if you try it. So try it and see where it leads you. And don't ever give up. If you want to watch the trailer or find out anything about my stories, it's all on my website, authorjoannawhite.com. I'll be putting the Shifter trailer up on there soon too. So just try the challenge and see what happens.
That is the thing. If you don't try, you will never know what
Yes.
happens. Never know. Joanna, thank you so much for letting me just celebrate with you your first year anniversary of your Valiant series. Can't wait to see all these just lined up on a bookshelf, falling over like a bunch of dominoes. I can't wait to see that because that's going to be thrilling. And I do got to ask you this though: with 30 books out, I know you have more stories. So after Valiant, do you already have a plan for afterwards, or no? Or is this is just the universe you're going to stay in?
Yeah, I've written a lot of books, and I have a lot of other series going that are probably going to be coming out as Valiant comes out. I've
Mhm.
got a clean vampire romance series that I really want to get out start next year. I've got a contemporary romance series that ends in natural disasters in every book coming out. I've got several standalones. So, I mean, I'm just going to be publishing books up the wazoo over the years, and after that, I have no idea. But hopefully, still keep writing and putting up books. But this million word challenge, I've got a lot written. So I'll be publishing more books next year that go that are published alongside Valiant. So yeah, just hopefully just continuing to publish books and putting out series. I've got plenty of series that I'm working on now. So
Yeah. Okay. I have to ask with the vampire. Um, Please, I beg you, no glitter.
oh no,
Okay.
my
Okay.
vampires burn in the sun.
Okay. That really makes me feel good inside. Because I love my vampires, and I like the old fashioned, they die when you put them in the sun vampires.
Yeah.
Um, And I know, and people get mad at me when I rag on that particular series. They get mad at me. I said, look, everybody can't like it. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those people who liked it, but whatever, whatever. It's not like she's going to get mad at me for not liking the book, So,
Yeah,
like she cares about Parker. She goes, who's Parker? Is, is it a,
funny.
is it a pizza? That's what I say. But Joanna, thank you so much for letting me celebrate with you on this special edition of Right Stuff. Looking forward to having you back once we get some more opportunity because the schedule's kind of booked right now, but I keep you in contact so we can do another one. And thank you. Congratulations on your first year.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
And we were chit-chatting with Joanna White. She is the author of the Valiant series. And let me tell you, she has been working so hard on that series. We talked about it on my show last month called Hunter. And if you want to read Hunter, it's available on Amazon.com. Definitely want to thank Ambassador International for the connection with their authors. You want to know more about Ambassador International? Simply go to their website, ambassador-international.com. Check out their catalog. And as always, we do showcase Christian authors from all over the world. You can prayerfully consider supporting this ministry by going to patreon.com/right stuff. Become a Quill member for $3 a month. Thank you so much for joining me for this edition of The Right Stuff. You have a wonderful, absolutely glorious, blessed day. And God bless.